So Bleeders is out June 21st. We'll hold this interview for a little bit. I actually got sent this the other day, and I had about a 20-minute drive home, and I hit play without reading anything about it. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, first song, new single, sounds great. The breakdown in it, absolutely loved it. I'm like, all right,
Thank
this
you.
is awesome. And then the second song starts, and I'm like,
Broadway song totally doesn't, without
no, no, no,
context.
no. And so second song, is Sunday Bloody Sunday, but I did like I said, I didn't read it. I was just listening. I was like, wait a minute, is this, a U2 cover? I was like, all right, I love covers, and this is a very well done cover. I'll take it. So I'm driving some more, and then my friends comes on, and I'm like, is this the damn Sweeney Todd song?
Yeah.
And so like I finally get home and I read the bio and see everything, and I'm like, I texted your publicist back or emailed him back, and I'm like, that might have been the wildest 3-song EP I've ever listened to. Like
Sure.
I was not expecting any of it, and it just kind of blew my mind. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess we can go in order there. Bleeders is obviously, it's the single. It is the main track, so to speak. And I kind of look at it as Bleeders and My Friends are really the release. That's the digital release. The Sunday Bloody Sunday will only be on the physical, but that was Sunday Bloody Sunday was a cover that we had done when we did the Temple of Love cover last year with Vallo. We were in the studio with Eric, and we were just running through songs that we loved and just seeing what would a Black Veil Bride's version of this sound like. So we ended up doing that, and we never finished it. And then, for one reason or another, a number of months ago, we decided to kind of give it a shot and finish it and see what we could make of it. And so it just became a thing where, well, we've got this thing, we might as well include it on this. I think that the name Sunday Bloody Sunday is obviously a little punny in that way, but the cover was not done with that intention. I know historically that song is about something that's even beyond the understanding of
Right.
a person who grew up in America in the 90s. I have no point of reference other than the historical perspective, what I know or have read. But the reason that we covered it is, and if you can, I try to say, I feel like you can both be referential to what the meaning of a song is, and also take your own meaning from it or why you're covering it. So the reason that we covered it for me is, it was a weird moment in my life, and I say weird because it sounds really obvious in retrospect, but I grew up loving, my first loves in music were Kiss and the Misfits and Wasp and Motley Crue and AC/DC and Aerosmith and all these things where the show was such a part of the thing, right? Outfits blowing up, stuff blowing up around you, big show, rock show stuff. And I'd always loved things like Springsteen and U2 and these other things that were more story driven, but I had never seen a show of any of those artists. And when I was about 9 years old, we went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it was when they were doing like a retrospective of U2's Rattle and Hum concert movie. And I saw them performing Sunday Bloody Sunday, and I'm not sure if it was from the concert movie or something else, but I just saw this, this band of people that now in retrospect, I know why, because I understand what the lyrical content of the song was, but I just saw so much aggression and passion and emotion through this performance where there was no big backdrop, no stuff blowing up around them. U2's obviously gone on that very big show, but at the
Yeah.
time, this is early on in their career, it's just a couple of people on stage.
Is that like black and white footage?
Yeah. And so it was a very minimalist, but for me at that age, it was really interesting to see a band that was just as entertaining and emotionally impactful for me, that didn't have the big show and weren't wearing crazy makeup and whatever else. It was informative to me of how the story is so much more important than the rest of it. And as much as I love Motley Crue or Wasp or whatever else, there's very few things as a writer that I take from them in the way that someone like Bruce Springsteen or Mike Ness from Social Distortion or these more story writing songs. Those are the things that have always been more inspirational to me, and I like to think that moment was kind of a watershed moment. So that was sort of the story of covering that song. And then the Sweeney Todd of it all is an entirely separate thing. I grew up loving the original cast recording. It was a really impactful thing for me in my adolescence. my dad was into musical theater, and he was into punk rock musical theater. So my dad was went to college conservatory music. He was into musical theater. He also has sleeve tattoos and loves Stiff Little Fingers and The Damned and Lords of the New Church and stuff. So it was like I didn't know as a little kid that there was a huge gulf between like punk rock, metal, and musical theater, because I saw like Phantom of the Opera and Sweeney Todd and Typo Negative kind of all as different versions of the same idea, right? Like very sort of dramatic noir, big sort of gothy things. So it was a big deal for me, and it was something I've always loved, and it just presented an opportunity to be able to utilize the story as an influence for a song that we were writing. And then that became, okay, well, why don't we actually do a song from the show and see what a Black Veil Bride's version of My Friends would be? And that's kind of how we got to this.